everyone, be welcome to Evening with Gelda program. All we are very glad to be back again and show to you a illustrious poet as a guest. He is Dr. Satish Srivastava. Dr. Satish was born and brought up from Varanasi, the most ancient city of India. He's a science graduate from BA2 Varanasi. He did his PGD-BM from Purvanchal University and doctorate Ayurveda. He served in different pharmaceutical companies for more than 30 years. And finally retired as managing admin in February 2016. He served for 3 years in private schools as principal. Having 2 sons, both married, elder one is a scientist in Singapore, and younger one is a manager in Canara Bank, Lucknow. He also feels blessed with a smart grandson. Writing is his passion since college life, but it was sustained in the heart for 5 years in the want of bread and butter. However, the subsided desire of writing ignited again after his retirement, and since then the journey goes on. He also likes gardening and reading. Wow! Be welcome, esteemed poet. Let's start our interview. Poet, what poetry means for you?
Hi. Good evening to all of you. Thank you, Gelda. Thank you very much for inviting me to your interview session. It's my pleasure. Well, poetry is the compilation of words, vibes of your heart, explored. By saying poetry, one can easily win the heart and audience and its readers. Poetry takes away the audience and its readers to the flow where you want to sway up with them away. Moreover, poetry remains in the world in terms of books, songs sung by people, even after you've gone from the earth to another world. Poetry makes you immortal.
Talking about literature, can we say that poetry is the most beautiful way to expand it across the world?
Yeah, rightly said by you. Poetry is the most beauteous way to expand literature across the world because it easily reaches to the heart of the audience and its readers. Poetry is the counselor helping us to understand one another, leading us away from hate to love, from violence to mercy and pity. Poetry is the bridge, an immediate part of becoming better people and being the change in the world, creating world less about tearing each other's down and apart and more about coming together. It's helping us to realize that we are not as different as we think. And despite our differences, we are not alone. In our grief, pain, joy, and happiness, reading and writing poetry is the greater good. whose benefits are the rebuilding and forgiving a more connected and caring world.
Which poetic style do you prefer?
Well, which poetic style I do prefer? Answering to this question, I would like to say just one old saying that fits well on me. Jack of all trades, but master of none. As I am not bounded to any particular poetic style, I have written different types of poetry, like acrostic, elefsin, English Sino, Ethri, Limerick, Ninte, Quatrain, Haiku, Tanka, narrative poetry, Paiku, etc. Besides free verse.
Cite an ancient and a contemporary poet that did influence in your writings.
Well, if you are asking about my inspiration from where I get that, I can say that it may come from any of the sources. Maybe physical state of a person, nature, who of living beings, or mental status of mind, maybe love, sorrow, weeping, crying, or something else. Or inspiration may come from reading of other poets, their poetry that touches to my heart, and vibes comes out, and I try to catch those vibes and compile my rendition. I have written so many topics that express that can't be expressed in a short moment right now.
Tell us, in your opinion, does a poet need to have an academic education, or is it possible to write empirically?
I think poets are born, they are God gifted boon. Writing poetry is an art where poet paints a picture of any theme magically by playing his words. In ancient era, you will find that there were so many poets, even they never had gone to school, and says their tremendous poetry. And nowadays, their lines are being quoted at appropriate vocab. Academic education never ensured to a good poet or writing good poetry. But a poet must be curious, innovative, and good imaginator. Education enhances beauty to these qualities to compiling their rendition.
With poets from different platforms and social media, do you usually follow their writings?
Which poets from platform or social media I usually prefer? That's not very fixed. I'm not following to any of the particular poet on social media, but there are many poets and poetess who are writing well. Their poetries are really appealing, but I reserve myself to name them especially. Well, I read them and being influenced with their writ, many of times I compose my verses too. They prove to be my poesy.
Where do you usually look for inspiration to write your poems?
You know, Gelda, although my writs are not very much influenced by any of the ancient or contemporary poets, I think. But Shakespeare's sonnets are the most admirable poetries to me. I really dream to compose it. In modern era, Tisan Doshi, Luke Kennard, the youngest one, Hannah Sullivan, Fatima Asghar, Jafar Kunial are the most popular, but unfortunately I have read them.
What advice would you like to give to the new generation of poetry?
Well, what I am observing nowadays, the new coming poets, basically, they are not bothering about the poetic tools like rhythm, rhymes, or following meters of any poetry tools. They mostly prefer to go with free verses, irrespective of structural poetry, as it is likely to be little stressful, time-taking, and tiresome, tough job. So they mostly prefer the freestyle. To those poets, I would like to say that a poetry is well accepted and makes it more room in the reader's heart and remain alive for a longer period if they are decorating their poems with different poetic tools.
And now, finalizing our interview moment, if you don't mind, could you recite a poem of yours for all of us now?
Well, Gelda, it's a pleasure mine indeed that you have given me an opportunity to recite one of my poems. So I would like to recite here one of my poems which has written long back in 2016. So the poem is taken from my book that already has published Pen to Reader's Heart. And the title of poem is The Eagle. So now let me recite my poem. I'm an eagle, a sterly early bird, wishing flying freely and never live in the herd. I'm an eagle with powerful hooked bill for catching my prey easily or bring down my enemy to kill. I am an eagle like a strong soaring flight, higher in the sky, so up that none can see my super delight. I am an eagle having long broader wings, may fly in the air as farther I wish. If hunting requires, I can swiftly swing. I'm an eagle, can gaze farthest object with my sharp eyes. That's why people always quoting me for a four-sighted man as an eagle-eyed. Thank you. Well, Gelda, it was really very nice session. You interviewed me. I enjoyed it. Here, I would like to request to my audience to go for my published book, The Pen to Reader's Heart. And I assure you that the book will not mortify you. You will like that book and as well as my poetry. For your kind information, I would like to say that my next book is coming very shortly. Dancing on Poetic Platform. Our title may be different, but it will consist a good number of my collaborations with different poets all around the world. So you will enjoy reading my poetry there. Hopefully, that within a month we will get in hand that book.
Wow! It was really a great moment. Thank you so very much for your presence today. And you guys, I'm looking for you on the next Sunday. Okay? Bye bye.